If anyone's watching, I'm just sitting here having a break because I've been in my garden all day. Just finished cutting a 40-foot hedge. And that was a long job because it was getting a little bit overgrown. I'd cut the front one as well, smaller, not quite as long as the back one. So I'm sitting here having a cup of tea, and I thought, I haven't been live for a while because I haven't had tea. But I thought, I'm sitting here having a cup of tea. I'll just see if anybody wants to chat. I'm not going to be sitting here for long because I've still got some other things to do in my garden, and I don't want to leave it too late. And I don't think... Oh, hi, Angela. You've just come in from a bike ride. Well, I've been in my garden, and I am, as the saying goes, I'm knackered. I'm sitting down having a break. I need a break because, like I said, I've been cutting the hedges and that, but my front garden's got a lot of weeds in the border, and I need to cut I cut all the grasses yesterday. I've got 3 lawns. I've got a very small one just above my patio in the back garden, and a very large one in the rest of the garden, and a medium-sized one in the front garden. And I cut all those yesterday, and I didn't get around. It's been a while since I've cut those as well. We've had rain and that was the first opportunity I had, and it was quite really a bit overgrown, and my strimmer doesn't work anymore, so I'm having to cut the edge with I've got a pair of shears, and that needs doing because there's long bits over the soil that need cutting off. So I'm going to do that later. Oh, you're right, he needs exercise. And yeah, swimming's a good thing for that, Angela. I haven't been swimming for quite a long time, actually, like where I used to love going swimming. It is a lot. It's good exercise if you've got arthritis, anything like that. But it's one way. It's one good way for exercise. But I don't think any of the swimming pools are open yet. At least around my way, up here near Newcastle, there's none of them open yet. Or you could swim before you could walk. Oh, I was a little bit older than you. I learned to swim. I didn't learn to swim until I was about 11 years old. I went with the school. You know, when they used to dunk you, if you wouldn't leave go the side, they used to have one of those long pole things, and they used to poke. And I'm talking about would have been around about 1956 or 57. When I went with the school, and they pushed you down in the water away from the side, whether you could swim or not. It took your life in your hands sometimes, but we soon learned. But like I'm saying, there's been no pools and things open. We have one of those ones where you have all the waves and things like that, and that's Whitley Bay, and that one hasn't been open for a while. And we've also got Wet and Wild in North Shields. They are all places that's near to where I live. I can go to those places. Oh, you were 3 years old when you were learning to swim, Angela. No, I was a lot older than that. I don't think my parents ever took me to the swimming baths when we were kids. We went down to the seaside, and that was it, and paddled in the water. But nobody ever taught me to swim until I went with the school. But I'm having me drink, and I'm probably not going to be on very long because, like you see, I've got to go and do some things. But I've been doing a few little things. I'll be putting 1 or 2 videos up. But I've made in the US, they call these pot holders. Now, in my house, I call them pans. So I'm calling it a pan holder. And this is just using up some of the machine knitting yarn that I had. And this is the silky stuff I used. I can show you. I used all these cones. That's a little bit what's left on that one. I've got a bigger cone with that on because I wind them onto from one cone onto to this one. And that's made up of all these three different yarns. So they were quite fine. And I used a 4mm hook. I wanted it bigger, but I guessed wrong the sizes. I had about 40, I think it was over 42 stitches I started with. And I think I should have had a bit more because it's only big enough for my smallest pan. So that's what that'll do for. And when I made this, I made a video. I'll be putting this up later on how I made this. But when I made it, I was halfway through it, and I put a little. I made a little, just a few stitches, just to give an idea how I started it off and that. And it was this that I started it off with. I do the few little stitches across the bottom, and then I left it, and I came back to it later on because I'd done about that far up the road, and I thought, well, I might as well finish it off. I can make a little bag with this. And then I thought, you know, those little bags you put in your drawers with like scented stuff in. You can put things like that in. So I finished it off and I made it into a little bag with a little drawstring on the top, so you can put stuff inside it and put it into your drawers. And there was another idea I thought of, you know, when you use soap and you have little bits left over, they never get used up, those tiny little bits of soap. You could collect them in a little bag like this and use them like when you're in the shower or in the bath, and you know, like rub them on your wet and rub them up and down on your arms. It's a way to use up odd little bits of soap. So I thought, oh, that'd come in handy. So I'll probably make one or two more of them for some of my friends. Oh, have I done a flower granny square? No, I haven't done a flower granny square, Angela. If you do them, you want to do a tutorial and put one up on the internet if you know how to do it, because I don't. I would probably have to look it up on YouTube to see how it's done. I've just been doing a little circle because I was out on Monday night at my quiz, where I go to every Monday, quiz and bingo and play a card, right? That's what we do. And then I was out again last night. We just had bingo on a Wednesday night. Well, there was no beer mats in the pub for a while. I think there was something to do with the lockdown thing. I don't think they were allowing beer mats, and some, or it was the pubs herself, I don't know. But there was no beer mats. So I made one or two of these, and I took some in for my friends, and we got them all out last night. We put them on the table, and of course there was about 20 altogether in our last night doing for the bingo and that, and they're all looking, where'd you get them from? I said, I made them, you know. Well, why didn't you bring any in for us? It's just your friends. And I said, well, I didn't know anybody else was going to have some. So it looks like they're all waiting of us bringing them in next week. I'm going to have my hands full this week. I'm going to be doing these little things to take in for them. So I could do with some different kinds, like learn to do like a flowered one, you know. Oh, you've just learned from Crocheting Rocks Lady in Huddersfield. Oh, I'll have to look that. I have looked up one or two of these to see what different patterns you can do on them, you know, because I've got a few. You've seen them before, I think. A few with, you know, I've done different ones, just ordinary like patterns. And that one, I think I had too many stitches on that one. I came out a little bit wavy around the edges. But I keep having a little bit practice, and I'm still using up little odds and ends of yarn. That's odds and ends of other yarn, not just the machine stuff. But I think I might do like a hole for something if I put my teapot on. I've got it's like a tile with a wooden base on. One of my children in school years ago, he made it for the teapot, and it's a bit manky looking now. The brown, the wood stuff, you know, with the tea stain and all that. And I thought I could make some, do some round holder for a teapot instead of a pan holder, and do it for a teapot holder thing, something like that, you know. I'm having another drink. But, oh yes, I've got my coffee on that one as well. That's another one I've got. I've got these all over the place. Everywhere I look in my house is the one, because everybody that comes in my house, they put their cups down on my sideboard, and anyway, and they never think, you know, that they're marking the sideboard. So I'm putting these all over the place in the house for them, make sure they use them next time they're here. But I'm keeping an eye on the weather, because I've also got one of my fences. I've got a fence. It runs down from my garage to the gate, and there's about 4 posts. Must be rotten because the fence is leaning in when it actually, I think it's going to touch me car when I'm coming out the drive. So I've got somebody coming tomorrow there's a friend of mine's coming we're going to buy the posts to repair, just those spike things you put in the soil with a post in and put up next to the other post to repair it. It's a council job, you know, it should be a council, because this is a council house I'm living in, but I had the fence put up myself in the first place, because they don't do things like that. They only do them every so often. So I've got to do them myself, and I put that fence up myself, must be about 10 years ago, or I had somebody put it up anyway. And it's lasted about 10 years. The post must be rotten now. So I'm going to have to get that done tomorrow, and I'm hoping it's not going to rain, because I think we're going to have a lot of wind as well. And if it gets too windy, the fence might be down altogether. And I haven't got what you call a very good neighbour on the other side of it. You know, he's not very nice, so I want it fixed before he starts moaning about it, saying it is my fence, because the council put fences up. They have what they call a fencing programme, and they put fences up around our estate about 5 years ago, but I wouldn't let them put one up where mine was, because there was nothing wrong with my fence at the time, and it was a nicer fence than the ones they were putting up. And then next door neighbour complained about it, and he started trying to knock it down, and I had to get the police to him at the finish, because he told him it was criminal damage what he was doing, because he wanted a new fence off the council. Or I says, I'm sorry, that's my fence, you're not knocking it down. But anyway, I hope the weather stays nice for tomorrow, for my friend coming up, but I think it's going to rain, so just hope he's coming up early in the morning, so I hope it gets done before the weather changes. And I've been, after I'd done the hedge in my front garden, I've got peas growing in my back garden. I want to show you where I got off me. Great big peas, and I've got to sit and shell all these. I'm going to freeze them, put them in my freezer and use them. And it's very heavy, so I don't know how much is there, but there'll be a lot less weight than that when they're all shelled. Some of them get a little bit wrinkled. I think they're a little bit past the best, so I'm going to have to sort them out. I'll keep some of them to dry them for next year. But the rest will go in my freezer. And I thought I'd just come on live this afternoon for a little while, because I haven't been on for a while, because it's usually, if I go on at night time, it's when I was going on about 7:30 before, well, it's starting to get dark in my living room, and when I put the light on, you don't get a very good light in on the laptop. It just doesn't show up very nice on the laptop, so I thought I'd try the afternoon for a while. But I'm also knitting as well. I'm doing little bits of knitting as well. I'll show you what I've got here. I've started this. I'm doing this for my granddaughter, and it's a poodle. Well, it's actually that proper name for it's Astrakhan actually, but it's poodle, and I'm knitting with three Another machine knitting yarn. There's 3 strands of it. Can you see there? You see the strands when you pull them apart. There's 3 strands there. And it's quite hard to knit because sometimes the knitting needle goes through the strands, and I've got to be very careful. And with it being black, I don't know if that's my eyesight, but even when I was younger, I could never knit black at the night time because I couldn't really see what I was doing very well. But I tend to knit it during the day, so I'm knitting a cardigan for her, and I'm just getting a bit of the welt done, and I've started on the rest. But I've got a lot of it, so I can knit one for myself after I've knitted this one for her. So I can do a little bit knitting during the day. That's the only time I can knit this yarn. But I was down with my granddaughter's on Tuesday, and I took my knitting with us, but the littlest one, who's 2, was up, so I can't get no knitting done when he's around, because he jumps around. I'll probably end up stabbing him with the needles. So that's what little kids do, don't they? They like to play around. So it's a lot easier to knit during the day. But I'm just finishing off me cup of tea, and then I'm going back out in the garden before the weather changes. I don't think it's going to rain, but it is getting rather windy now, and it's getting a bit cloudy. So I'm going to say bye for now, and I'll catch up with you a bit later on. So bye, Angela. I think you're still there. You're probably the only one that's there. Like, there's only one person watching on here. So I can catch you another time. I just thought I'd have a little look in and see if anybody was there. End the stream.